little frustrated after doing all that stuff, and I apologize. I know it's a little messy. So, and you are probably having all sorts of numbers all over the place like this. The good news is when we push this green checkbox, that will all go away, and we will not see that anymore. And I have already some steps done here, so I'm going to delete all these so you don't have to look at that. All right, so when you push that green checkbox, you will see a nice clean sketch like this, and it won't be a big mess. And if you go and examine it, you should make sure that all these little squares on the ends look like they're squares, and they look pretty good to us here, okay? The next step is we are going to start extruding these walls, and we're going to make the top part of it. Notice it's a T shape like you can see there, but we're only going to make the top of it right now. So let's start an extrude, and you are going to want to select all these little faces, all the little parts here, right? If you get crazy, you might try and do it in the reverse way and select everything and then deselect parts that we don't want right now. Might go a little faster for you. And you can see I got all the walls there. Or if you want to go through and click on that, that's not working for you, go ahead and go click on all the pieces separately. And we're going to use this type of extrude on this list here. Usually we have blind is where we just type in a number, but we're going to say up to face. So this allows us to unhide this piece of plexiglass that's going to go on the top here and say extrude up to this face, and you'll see they will all stop right there. And we're going to want to make sure it says new. And I can already see something I did wrong here. So I'm going to show you guys this common mistake that you guys are going to want to avoid here as well. So that all those pieces are now the correct height. But you can see like this piece, this is joining these two pieces together, which is not going to work for our laser cutter. So we're going to have to come back here and click on these pieces, and notice it started changing to a different color. We're going to have to do a second extrude to get all these pieces that are touching. So anything that's touching like this, we're going to have to deselect so that we don't get one solid piece there. It wants to kind of join those. And it looks like I got one more here. Oops. All right, and go make sure nothing's joining together. A good giveaway is that they'll be the same color like you saw there. And now they're extruding up to that face, and I'm going to say OK. And now I'm going to repeat that step again with all those pieces I missed. So basically getting all those ones that I had to deselect the first time. It's just how the software works. It doesn't like to give me those as separate pieces. It doesn't know how to deal with that. So you'll see again, they're too tall. This time we can do an up to face, and the face, we already have a face that's in the correct spot. We'll click the top of one of these. We don't have to go do it from the piece of plexiglass. And you can see there, it's going to extrude that to the correct position. All those wall little pieces are the correct height now. Looking good. All right, and we're going to say OK. Now you have all your separate wall pieces. Now we're going to put the bottom piece on all these T pieces here. So I'll hide that for a second so you can see. Right now we only have a rectangular wall. We're going to add these little T's on the bottom of all of them. So let's view this from the bottom side, and we're going to do very much the same thing. I'm going to say extrude. I'm going to start clicking on these pieces, and well, you'll see right away it's going the wrong direction. So let's flip that around. And this should be the thickness of the material, and you'll start to see it's giving me a nice little tab there to make that kind of T shape. But we are going to want to add this to the other material here, right? So when we say, we'll come back to the merge part here in a second. But essentially, before you go and click on everything, we want to do the same thing. We have to click on these as separate pieces. If didn't like that one. Oops. We have to go click on these as separate pieces. We'll come back to the merge scope later. Clicking on these little guys one at a time. Again, skipping the ones that are touching each other. Like I'm not clicking on that blue one for the same reason we just did it a few moments ago. Merge scope is going to be all the pieces we're extruding on. So like this one would be on that merge scope, that one, that one, that one, that one. I know it's a little bit of tedious here, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And you click on them all, and I think I got them all. We can always check that later and come back to this if I missed one. All right, and we're going to say OK. And we'll start to see those little tabs showing up there. Now we repeat that again for all those ones that we had to skip. And so there's a little bit of repetitiveness here. And I'm just hunting those down, like that one and that one. And then the direction needs to change again. And the thickness of the wood is what we're going for there. And then, let's see, we want to add, and again, the merge scope should be all the pieces we are adding to. And I think I got them again there. Again, if you didn't, you can always come back and double click on it and edit these and make them look good again. But let's see, I'm gonna hide that so I can kind of view all just a nice clean view there. And that is looking pretty good. All right, so I'm going to do one more step here, and that is going to be to show the base piece. And this piece, like we've probably done in some of the other projects we've done so far, you can see that there's no hole in this base piece right now. So we are going to do this little thing called a Boolean, which is we're going to use one piece to cut a hole in another piece. So we're going to say subtract. The tools are the pieces that are doing the cutting. The targets are the pieces that are going to get cut. So the tools are all the little wall pieces all over the place, clicking on them. This video is repetitive, I know, but we'll get through it. And finally, your targets, that's going to, you click on that, and then that's going to be that base piece. And you'll notice it kind of shows you there what it's going to look like. But if I push that checkbox right now, it's going to delete all the tools, all the little walls there. So we're going to say keep tools right there, and then you'll see that those show back up, and now it's going to be good. And look at that, we're going to have all those holes there. We'll push OK, and voila, you have a piece for the base that is going to be the right size. And you'll notice one more thing here. I don't have a couple other pieces here. I need to extrude some holes here. So I lied when I said I was going to show you only one more thing. Extrude all these holes. We want to make sure they're removing material, cutting holes through that piece. And you know what? I actually wanted the center of this as well, because that is going to be where a bolt goes, that we can put a bolt in there. And, you know, I lied one more time. We got one more extrude to do. I need to extrude this guy, making it a new piece for the thickness of the piece of wood. That's going to be a separate little piece we're going to do. And a bolt will go through that hole. And I'm going to hide that sketch again. That is looking pretty darn good. So at this point, you are welcome to go back and change anything that's needing changing. If there's a gap between 2 points that is less than 1/4 of an inch, 0.25, the ball will not go through there. So just be aware of that. If you don't want the ball to go through, you want to be too tight of a squeeze, that's up to you. But keep that in mind. And then also just a reminder before we're all done here, we're going to say the holes of any sort, they're or the distance from here to here across this hole should not be any larger than 1/4 inch. We do not want the actual ball to fall out of the hole, otherwise you're probably going to lose it. So the ball should stay in there. Hopefully this video is helping you get going so we can make our little marble maze. Let me know if you need help with anything, and I'll see you in class.